Assalamualaikum and hi to my lecturer Sir Tami Chong and my beloved fellow friends. Today my group will review about one article. Before that, let me introduce my groupmate. The first one is me, myself, Izzham Hakim bin NORDIN. The next one is NORALIF NAZMI bin NORAZLI. The third one is NURUL HIDAYAH binti NAZRI, and the last one is FITRAH binti MAHADZIR. Okay, so the article that we're going to review were in the Journal of the Open Sports Science Journal 2017. The title of this article is Fatigue and Recovery in Soccer, Evidence and Challenge by Diego Marquez Jimenez on 10 November 2016. Alright, so without wasting more time, let's go. Everyone knows about soccer. Soccer is one of the common sports that were played around the world. Having a fatigue during or after playing soccer is a common thing that happens. The objective of this article is to sum up the current evidence of fatigue and recovery in soccer player to reduce the factor that can affect player performance and suggest an application for the coaches and for the further research. When we play soccer, the thing that absolutely that we can see is physiological change that happen to be after the soccer player itself are exposed to the mechanical and metabolic stress. What are the demands of movement for this game, for soccer game that influence the changing of physiological? It will include acceleration, deceleration, jump, change of direction, tactical skill, and technical skill that were always being used during soccer gameplay to achieve optimal performance. In some situations, we also can face a decrease of performance over following hours and days. That is the thing that we want to do for this article. So, but it also depends on the characteristic or the composition of muscle of the player itself. What is fatigue actually? Fatigue can be described as the inability to maintain a given exercise intensity or power output level, although it is usually defined as any reduction physical or mental performance. Next, what is EIMD, or we know as exercise include muscle damage? It was a characteristic by a symptom that present both immediately and for up to 40 days after the initial exercise do. The main consequence of the EMD for the athlete is the loss of skeletal muscle function and sore nerve movement demand that I mentioned at the earlier presentation also contribute to the physiological change of the soccer player. The relationship between fatigue and EMD was muscle fatigue may partly derive from EMD, but it still has the consequence that soccer player can having fatigue without facing the EIMD symptom. Alright, so next is in recovery. In recovery, we can choose to stabilize it back or exceed performance in particular activity. In soccer, the faster you recover from fatigue, the greater advantage will you have. If the coaches always normalize routine for fatigue and recovery toward the soccer players, it will be more easy to the player to adapt the training, the competition stress, and evaluate athlete readiness to return for competition. So I will give the next session to my friends.
My name is HIDAYAH binti NAZRI. My number matric is 2022964085. So next is methodology of this study that use a comprehensive review of the scientific literature on field.
Okay, now I will continue about the evidence, mechanism and causes of fatigue in the soccer. So the first one is physical performance. It's different situation, variables or contextual factors. So that means it depends on what are you playing. So if you are goalkeeper, it's different of causes of fatigue, and if you play the striker, it's also different. This interpreting match related fatigue is highly complex. After that, dehydration and hypothermia have been suggested because responsible for acute fatigue in the soccer. Hormonal response and their relationship to immune function in soccer player also associated with fatigue. So that's all from the evidence, mechanism and causes of fatigue in the soccer. So, FITRAH will continue about the situation variable in match-related fatigue in soccer player.
Hi, my name is FITRAH BINTI MAHADZIR. My metric number is 2022971103. So I will continue about the result, which is situational variable in match-related fatigue in soccer players. Based on the journal Fatigue and Recovery, it's been stated that the decline in physical performance during soccer match is not only a direct consequence of the physiological fatigue. It stated that individual activity profiles are highly variable and include elements of self-pacing because decision-making about opportunities to become engaged in play dictates individual activities. The next point is, it also can influenced by high-intensity running. The author mentions that the substitutes could cover 15% more distance performing high-intensity running for a given time period of a match compared to a player who is on the pitch for the entire match. Next point, physical performance is one of the factors that related to the fatigue issues. It shows that players perform significantly less high-intensity action when winning than when losing or when the score is level. It is because when losing, players are more likely need to produce maximum players' effort in order to come back in the match. As the conclusion, it is complicated to evaluate the influence of fatigue on the physical performance or of the soccer players without considering the independent and interactive effort of the situational variable related to tactical and strategic factor.
Okay, now I will continue about the recovery. So, recovery have a three phase: is immediate recovery, short-term recovery, and training recovery. Immediate and short-term recovery is linked to metabolic, energy sources, and electrolyte. After that, sleep provide a number of important psychology and physiological function. Because of what? When you have a good sleep, you have a good recovery for your body. So the cell can recover from that and make some new cell to provide a new energy for you. So that's all from me about the recovery in soccer. So Nurul Hidayah will explain about the fatigue and recovery makers in soccer.
The fourth point in this journal is fatigue and recovery, a physical performance marker which is divided into 4: PT kejar, maximum voluntary strength, sprint and repeat sprint ability, and aerobic performance. To improve and creating a simple and applicable battery of tests will allow for appropriate alteration of day-to-day training intensity and volume, maximizing the potential for positive adaptation to training and avoiding overtraining and injury, and more importantly, improving match performance. This point related to central fatigue that decrease synthesis of 3 neurons transmitter, which is norepinephrine, serotonin and dopamine, that lead the brain to a sense of fresh. Also decrease peripheral fatigue, which is the accumulation hypothesis, hydrogen ions, ammonia, and phosphate. Next is skill performance. This technical skill that use high intensity muscle that causes peripheral fatigue. It release of calcium decrease. The function of calcium is to facilitate interaction between actin and myosin. In this point also have cognitive marker, which is mental fatigue has been shown to impact cognitive and physical performance. It's related to central fatigue, which is hypoglycemia, dehydration and hyperthermia, and also decrease synthesis of 3 neurons transmitter. Lastly is biochemical marker or biomarkers is a measurable product used as indicator of biological state. This occur will causes an increased metabolism with significant hematological change, and it decrease the depletion hypothesis that decrease depletion of energy substrate, which is ATP, creatine, phosphate and glycogen. By improving this biomarker will improve and gain the hypothesis and decrease accumulation hypothesis.
Last but not least, back to the earlier slide of specific demands move. that I have explained before also can influence the physical performance. The more movement you learn when playing soccer, the greater physical performance you can gain. This article will help a lot for the coaches to design a training schedule and improve individual training position to monitor the recovery status of player and to adjust player recovery strategies. That's all from me and my group mate. Thank you for lending your ears and time. Thank you.